Wonderful. So, hello, Kirstyn. So, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you also for being interview number one of our 2020 Homegrown series, which is focused at championing change and inspiring women to lead, not only in business, but also in life. Because I have a belief that if you're a leader in one area, you're likely to be a leader in other. No one just gets up and solely goes to work. No one just sits up and solely focuses on one thing. There are multiple things that kind of go on in our lives. And for the listeners and the viewers, this is Kirstyn. She's an amazing woman based in Auckland. She's the mum of two gorgeous children, I guess probably on any given day, Michaela and Ethan, as well as the trainer and boss lady at KC Fit, which we will hear more about shortly. And I know for myself, I'm really excited to hear more about your story. Obviously we've kind of connected over the last couple of weeks. I've read a little bit about your journey online and a little bit of interaction, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more about, your journey, not only business, but also life, and also being able to share this with other women out there. As I mentioned to you, like we had a quick chat about this at the start, was that the purpose of this is really to show up and just be normal, everyday women, and share, what it is that we do, why we do it, all the balls that we juggle, and, being able to inspire not only other women to maybe start businesses, but also to be able to just get out of their own way and do what it is that they want to do in life, whether that be business, whether that be in their relationships, whether that be with kids, or whatever that kind of may be. So I'm excited to kind of get started, and I will stop talking. So I'll hand it over to you. So I would love it if you could share a little bit with us about yourself, I guess a little bit about your background, KC Fit, and, a little bit about who you are.
Cool. Thank you for having me. Yay! So I actually had no desire to be in business. All I wanted to do was to be a mum. And that was my business. That was my life plan. I knew I wanted lots and lots of kids. Came from a big family, and a friend asked for help with her class. She was very good at running boot camp classes, and I laughed because I was in a class. I'm a real introvert, and I remember being in one of her classes, thinking, "I'm so glad I'm not the trainer. All these women are looking at her for advice, and this would be like you as a business coach, like." People want knowledge from you and expect or I was like, she has to know everything. They've got all these questions and everyone's looking at her. And then not long after, she asked me to step in and because I had experience in another business in the fitness area. So I helped her and loved it, started mums classes. So I was doing 4 classes a week, and I loved it, absolutely loved helping mums and working with mums. I actually really enjoy training men as well, because you can push them so hard. They're very proud. So that's when it started with that. My mum journey isn't what I had planned. Michaela, who is 11 now, she was an IVF baby, and Ethan, who's 8, he's adopted, and I still want 2 more. So it's, it's like your birth plan. You put out a plan of what you want it to be, or a business plan at the start of what you want it to be, and it warps into something different. So you just kind of make it what it's going to be. So KC Fit was a hobby. I did part-time and really enjoyed it, and charged. I was like what is it called? I have a brain injury. I didn't tell you.
Yes.
So words go. Charity. It was like a non-profit thing. I was charging nothing, and all the money I made came in, and I bought equipment secondhand. Like, it was just nothing. And then jumped through to loads of trainers working for me, heaps of classes in a week, PT clients as well, tearing my stomach, weakening my pelvic floor, specializing in training mums safely, so pre and postnatal care. Skipped through to my husband resigned from his job to support KC Fit, because I said, it's so big, I'm not coping being an at-home mum and running this business. I was still calling it a hobby, actually, to be fair. I said, you either have to come in and help me, because I'd hired a couple of admin girls, and they didn't get it. I sucked at giving them the information they needed. I was just too impatient, and I was terrible at giving them the detail they needed to perform really well. And then, like, if you type in email addresses wrong, that's a big faux pas. Like, I have to go in, it's going to come back wrong. And so anyway, he left his job, and that would be 2.5 years ago, opened up a second location out where we live now in Northwest, West Side. Opened up Casey Fit at Home, our online membership. So it's like we've got 3 locations, and we're sharing parenting at home with the children. We have chat home, my husband, a lot more, which is really fun and interesting to get to know him in different ways. But yeah, I love being active, and find personally that being active, no matter if it's playing touch or I'm going for a run or doing some strength training or swimming, it just fuels my soul, makes me feel happy, like I'm doing something for me, and then my bucket's filled up and I can go out and give to other people. So yeah.
That's awesome. So I've got multiple questions off that. So firstly, 4 kids, you would like to have another 2. How in the world do you see your life looking, like, which I'm sure is already quite busy with 2 kids, let alone having another 2 into the next?
I know, right? And I think about that. So my mum promised me that she'd resign from being a teacher when I have another child, because she works, and this is something I'm mindful of in business. To grow the business as big as it is, to live off it as a whole family, I've worked really long hours, and I also prioritize being there with the kids, because my mum's always worked really hard. She raised 4 kids on her own and had to work multiple jobs to feed us and everything, and it meant though that she wasn't around, and so I'm like a little bit guilting her, like, and she's still not around heaps because she's working. She's very good at what she does. She's a teacher, has been for like 35 years. But with my brain injury, I believe that good comes from everything. We just maybe have to wait to see it or look for it. And that has taught me that 50 or 60 hours a week, which is what I was working, I couldn't do it anyway. I had to cut back down to 9 hours a week, and that's including my classes, my online interaction with clients, all the paperwork that you have with business, recording workouts for the online membership. That's I'm up to 19 hours now, nearly a year later. But I've learned how to work smarter, not harder, because I want to be there with our children. And I want to be able to clock off at 3 when the kids have finished school. And even if it's one day a week I don't and I work later, I've got some mornings that I start earlier. And it has been a hideous year of having this brain injury. But I have learned that, like you've said, we are not superwomen. We do not need to be superwomen. We put on this armor of, I have to push. I don't know if we're proving ourselves in a strong male world, but yeah, I've learned to say no a lot, and that it's actually okay, and the business doesn't suffer that much. So balance.
Yeah, what a funny thing that word is.
Yeah.
So without going, as you've mentioned, you've had a brain injury, and that's one of the things when we first connected was I was reading a post online about all the amazing things that you got done in the month of November, and you said, oh, but my brain injury is holding me back. And I thought, my gosh, like I would be interested to know what you would be like without it. But you've hit, I guess, something that I really love talking about, and that is balance. And there is and I'm interested to know what your thoughts on this are, is that I do believe you need to work hard in, any area of life to be able to get the results that you're wanting. Yep. But we live in a world where we've got access to social media, and there is a lot of this 24/7 hustle out there where you must work 24/7 hours a day in order to be the success that you want to be. Now, I personally brought into that a few years back when I was still in corporate, when I then kind of went, I then developed some pretty big mental health challenges off it. Along with all the burnout and everything else. And I learned a very interesting lesson is that maybe we don't need to work 24/7, and we can actually create our dreams and our goals from a place of balance when we let go of trying to do it all. So I guess, what's your feedback on that? You've obviously gone from a place where you have worked really hard, 50, 60 hours. You've obviously built the foundation so that when it came to the point where you couldn't give it that amount of time, you then had put some, things in place for you to take a bit more of a step back. But what is, I guess, your view on working really super hard, getting where you were, to then have to take a step back? And what's the outcome that, would you have changed anything for the first couple of years, or what's your view on the let's work all the time?
So I remember it must be 3 or maybe years back, I joined Get It Done Mum, which is business coaching online, because I wanted to start an online membership up and help more mums further. I was very frustrated, and their big thing that got me was their motto or something was to work, have a successful business in 30 hours or less. And I was successful, but my hours just kept getting higher and higher. I'm really, really hardworking, and I do believe that you get out what you put in, and you reap what you sow. So I don't think I would change what happened, how much I worked. I've learned a lot. I've studied a lot. I've invested a lot in business coaching and mentoring and courses to learn. There's so much in business. What I had a fear of that I've had to overcome this year is I shut down classes. So I closed down some of my commitments that I knew I couldn't do and no one else could do. So I closed them down. I hired more help. So I've got another trainer. For my example, I got another trainer who's running classes for me as well as me cutting down classes. So I've got less income, right? So we're earning less, but I'm surviving. Another venue where I used to travel, it's ridiculous what I used to do. I used to travel from the west out to north twice a week, and run 4 classes and race back after a 5:45 class to run 2. It was just nuts what I did. Either that, I had to make the call, either that shut down, that whole site, the location I started at, that was my baby. I had to let go of that. And either I shut that down, or the trainer who was looking to work for me, I gave her the option of taking it over as Herbert under Casey Fit, and I mentored her more. So she ran it like it was her baby, but under the Casey Fit umbrella. So I gave away control. I taught, this is what I've done that's been successful, really simple, whether flyers did or didn't work, posting on social media, emailing, contacting clients, getting back to clients, tagging, linking, like photos, images, all of that stuff, just for the business social side. And then there's the running it with the clients, program writing, looking after babysitters, like all of this gear, equipment, venues. And I've just, I've learned to let go. I've learned it doesn't need to be done my way to be right. I've learned to be really, like I don't know if you've heard of Girls Gone Strong, which is run by Molly Galbraith. I heard her speak. She's in America. I heard her speak. She's like, promotes strong women, but she promotes healthy body image. And when she came here and spoke, she's all about strong women lift women up. And so I've taken this on. It was last year that a year ago I heard her, and I have just gone, okay, this trainer here, I want to make her the best that she can be. I want to promote her. The trainer I've got here with me now, I want to make her the best trainer that she can be. There's no competition, me feeling like, will my clients like her more? Will she be better? In my industry, trainers who come in can steal your clients and go and start somewhere else, and that has happened to me. But I'm championing other people, praying that the bills get paid, grateful for business insurance as well as ACC, because of how much income's dropped. My expenses have gone up with all my health bills and stuff. But I had to take a complete step back and go, how can we make it work? My husband Chad has taken on so much more. He's been like, I think it's teamwork. And when I was writing notes from going over your questions, a big thing is you can be so, I like isolated and alone in business, especially if you work from home. Even though I work with clients, running the business on your own can be really isolating. And the more my team's growing, the more fun it's been. The less, like, you know, you give away a percent of what you make, but the better it's been and the more we've been able to grow. And a business book I was reading taught me that we don't have to be awesome at everything. Or if we've got some awesome stuff but some weaknesses, he said you don't actually need to get those weaknesses better. You just hire other people that are awesome at it and you rock at what you rock at. So it's been working on that stuff.
Yeah, and I think that that's really, like, that is really part of the business journey as well. Like, I think, you know, we all kind of start out, or a lot of people start out and we do, like, you know, we're amazing at one thing, or we really love a product and we've decided to either enhance it or create our own, depending on, you know, what type of business we've got. And then we realize we've got multiple hats that we didn't realize that we needed to be able to wear. And that's where I guess the overwhelm hits in if I actually don't really know anything. Yeah. And that can kind of hit people on a, I'm going to learn or I'm going to exit this now because I've got no desire to want to learn it all. And, you know, and you have to manage cash flow because people are either using savings or loans or work income or wherever it may be. So, you know, we've got time versus money. And, you know, and depending on where people are at, it kind of outcomes. But then there is definitely a point, and I think that if anyone is listening to this and they are at that point where they are juggling everything, wondering what that next step is, I think that you've really hit the nail on the head with that, is that start looking at the lifestyle and rebalancing and what can you start outsourcing, and it is more fun. Yeah. I love control and certainty. Like, it's like my favorite thing. And I definitely was doing everything in my business all by myself until I actually need to start letting go of some of this and started to, you know, bring different people on board, and had to start putting together, you know, like you said, actual detailed plans on what it was that I was doing, because it wasn't just failing forward and making things up. It was like, I need to now communicate what we're doing in this, and which is completely different mindset in itself.
It's so hard.
It is really hard. And I was saying to one of the girls that I'm working with yesterday, I promise at some point we'll get to a 2-month plan, but right now I've only got a month in me. But, you know, one, it started to give me some time back, but it did become so much more fun because there's someone else part of the vision, and that you can actually start reaching more people or start communicating differently or seeing things differently because you have someone else or multiple people there. So if anyone is at that point that's listening to this and they're growing a business and they're just like, oh, this is just horrific, you know, start looking at where your cash flow is. Yes, you're going to go backwards a little bit, but you can also start moving back forwards with them as well. I really believe in business, you always go backwards before you go forwards. You just have to, you know, prepare yourself for that and then go, okay, we've been to the break even line before. If we've been through it once, we can get through it multiple times. Because yes, the more fun you have, the more you are passionate about helping more people, and the more you want it to grow, and the more you can help people, and you also get to be like, get more of your time back as well, I guess.
Yeah. So, and if you have more of that fun, you're keener to work harder at it. Like, yeah. Every time we have a launch of a new product, or I don't know, we're pushing a certain part of our membership, or I've got a new block in my group training, like, it's always more work. You're not just maintaining all the time. And so if you love what you do, you've got a team with you and they're doing, because we've all got our skills. My mum calls it your smarts, her little kids at school. We've all got our own smarts. And if we can shine in our own smarts, we rocket it and we're way more powerful. It's way more time efficient. We're way better at it. And if other people rock at their own smarts, because we can suck at some stuff and that's okay. Like, because we're all different. So teamwork's dreamwork, man.
Yep, absolutely. I love it. Now, we've spoken a lot about business, and I guess I'm curious to know, how do you fit your business around your family? Like, do you have set days or times that it's like, right, this is absolutely dedicated family time, or you'll take time out of the business, Chad will work, or how does that kind of all fit in? Because I'm sure having young kids, you've got lots of, parties and extracurricular activities and all the things, especially when school holidays come in. And I don't have kids, but from a lot of people, it's very overwhelming. So how do you manage all of that?
Families first for us. That was probably, for Chad, his biggest reason for supporting Casey Fit and leaving his job was he was spending 2 hours a day on the road work, leave the house at 7, home at 6. And he just didn't get to see the kids. And so we just say yes to their activities. They're both very sporty and active children, and winter's a very hard month because, anyway, we juggle. It's exactly what you said. So we have a calendar. We've got it's a chart. I guess it's a chart for the children. We know who takes, because another thing for me is my parents were never at my sports things. They didn't come and watch me play, very, very rarely, and it was because they were busy. And Chad's come from a family where that's what you do, no thought about it. So we're even at practices. So I've had to tell him we both don't need to be at training. That's okay. But we juggle it because we juggle my classes on a Saturday around 2 rugby games that are straight after, and who can get to what location first. And being out west, we often have to go North Shore and up north, and families first. And we want the kids to know that Casey Fit's a really important business, and we're helping to improve the quality of the life of a lot of women, but that they're very valued as well. And the reason that we're a family business is so that Chad's going tomorrow to play touch in the parents and teachers versus children touch game, and we can go to athletics day, and we juggle, which means working smarter. It's like, okay, if I'm saying yes to this stuff for the family and the kids, that means that this work time is really sacred. If you're going to go meet a friend during the day when it's actually work hours, that means you're working at night instead of in those work hours. And he's a good balance for me because I'm hardworking, and he puts family first, and I guess we balance each other. I'm like, dude, you've got to work, and he's like, let's just go have fun. Because we, husband and wife, work together, we go away overnight. We're very big on date night, trying to have date night once a week, try to not talk about business all the time, go out and play and not just work. So it's important for us with balance.
Cool, thanks. I appreciate that, because I know that there are, some of my clients as well, they're a bit, especially when school holiday comes around, it's like, how do I focus on this, and how do I do all of these things? And you really kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of, you juggle it, and you just make different allowances and things like that. So
it's like how you said earlier, you just, when school holidays are, don't plan anything big in your business during school holidays. Plan for that to be your downtime, so and you say to the kids, 2 hours a day mummy's working, this is what you'll do, and then we're going to play. Like, I find if my kids know this is mum's work time and then you've got me all to yourself, then they're not that constant naggy, and they get you're on the phone and they all of a sudden need to talk to you. If they know that there's going to be balance as well, then they cope better. But plan around school holidays for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's important too as well for anyone that doesn't have kids, is to look at the school holiday period and their business and track what goes on. Because although I don't have kids, I know that when school holidays are on, it is a slower month. So therefore, I just plan my business around that too. There is no point me launching something out there, because a part of my market is mums or women with kids. So if someone's out there starting a business and they're wondering, why is it dipping around here, or what's going on here, really look at the school holiday periods based on where their business is, if that is part of their target market. And even if it's not, just check it out, because it would be interesting to see whether it does make a difference in terms of the sales, or even the inquiries, or traffic, for product-based businesses. And then, just kind of keep an eye on that over time would be, I guess, my recommendation for anyone out there that doesn't think that kids and school holidays are going to affect them. Probably are. Kids affect everyone.
Me too.
So what would you say has kind of been your biggest challenge in your business? You know, have you ever had one of those moments where it's been, I just don't know if I can get through this. I don't know if this is for me, whether this is what I'm meant to be doing. You know, should I go back to a job? We all have these crazy little thought patterns. Is there any one the kind of big challenge that you faced that really, I guess, you know, challenged you to think differently and dig deep to believe in yourself and to keep moving forward?
Yeah, so I've been going 6 years, and it was probably I can't remember how long ago, but it was a huge self-doubt thing. There was a big personal problem with someone I'd hired who was really close to me, and I put myself under her and felt like she was more intelligent than me. I'm dyslexic, and school and study was always really, really hard. And so I had kept, even as an adult, kept that hat on that I'm not good enough, I'm not intelligent enough, I'm faking everyone. You talk about imposter syndrome, like just the ultimate. And I think that this hard thing happened. She had to get stripped out of my life. It was hideous. But that had to happen for me to come up and see, I do know what I'm talking about. I do love what I'm doing, and I can study and I can retain this information. And I have far exceeded what I ever thought I could have done. What you were talking about with November, that exercise awards, how I was a finalist in program excellence, that program tummy in bits. When I started that, I had this other person running it for me because I didn't think I was good enough to do it. And I let her, she was taking the reins. And if she was still here, that would never have happened. So when it was happening, I was heartbroken, and I just had to grow balls. I had to get over myself and stop comparing myself to somebody else or to what I thought trainers were or I needed to be, or like just so much. I'm different, and I'm not a normal person. I am quite unique, and like I said, I'm a bit dorky. I do things differently. I am honest, but I speak the truth in love, and I'm not afraid of being an idiot and making a fool of myself for fun. And so I know that I'm different, and so I just had to grow up here and do what I do in my business different. I don't run my business the same to any others. Most trainers have worked in a gym. Most trainers come from a gym first. I've never worked in a gym. I've been a client in a gym, but I like the outdoors. Mentally, outdoor exercise is so much better for us. I feel free. Gyms are claustrophobic. This program I've written, it's my biggest challenge. I had to stop using someone else as a crutch and believe that I could do this, because it's, again, I have to get out of myself. I'm the face of a business and I didn't like it. I'm like, why can't someone else is doing it, I don't want to do this. Why can't you be the face? Chancellor, I can't sell vagina tightening. I can't be the pelvic floor man. And I had to get over that, because I think whether you're selling a product or a service, whatever it is, we're doing it to better someone else, to help somebody else. And so I had to get over me. I'm not selling me. I'm selling a product and a lifestyle. I'm selling freedom that women don't need to wet themselves, and freedom that, my whole thing is not, aesthetics doesn't matter. It's how we feel, how strong we are, how positive we feel about ourselves. And so I just had to get over me. I might be a face on everything, but really it's the service and the product that I'm selling. So it was a very hideous, painful, ripping off a Band-Aid, and stitches were underneath and they got pulled out like it was nasty. But very, very good has come from it.
Yeah, I bet that was probably a defining moment too. The biggest challenges are normally the biggest moments of the right, and the biggest step forward, especially when it comes to, self-doubt. So what you've told me so far is that you are a dog, you're an introvert, you're dyslexic, you've had a brain injury, you know, I guess we've heard lots about you, and you also suffer from self-doubt just like everyone else, from imposter syndrome, and sometimes feeling like, can I actually do this, which you know, which is great, and I love that. So for someone out there that's potentially watching or listening to this, what would be one key piece of advice that you would offer to someone else who is going, I'm an introvert too, or I'm a dork, or can really relate, you know, to what you've kind of shared with us, that maybe they're really being challenged at the moment by that self-doubt? What would be your piece of advice to help them kind of get through, to break through to the other side? Do you have any tools or strategies, or was there any like defining moment that you kind of got that light bulb moment that, you know, was kind of like, oh, that will help me? Or was there anything like that?
After all the crying, a whole lot of praying and lots of snotty tears, the thing that helps me with my being an introvert is, again, it's the service, and it's what I'm helping women with. I will fight a fight for someone else much stronger than I will for myself. And so I'm trying to change the industry. Like, what I'm trying to do, I'm running a business, but I'm also trying to improve my industry, along with some other trainers, where women need to be trained differently to men. Our bodies don't respond well, and we're being damaged, and there's lots of different things. So for me, I'm so passionate about what I'm doing. I get so cross at this time of the year. You'll see loads of promotional stuff in the health and fitness area saying, get your baby body back, get your bikini body. We're going to get you toned and beautiful for summer, which to me is saying, your body's hideous. I don't like the way you look. You don't look good enough. You need to change, which is just a lie. And so in my industry, it's easy to do that and get marketing, flatten your tummy. All of this stuff's easy because people go, oh, that's me. I'm not good enough. I need that. And it is harder to go. It is harder what I'm doing, but the way that I'm doing it, it's because I'm so passionate. It's because we all compare ourselves to other people. I find you can look in the mirror and be like, yeah, I'm okay with how I'm feeling today, until you're with somebody else and they might be your mirror, and then you go, oh, but their nose looks nicer than mine. You know, like, and then you start to not be happy with how you are. So I'm very passionate about our women's health and the internal parts of our body that can happen whether you have children or not, and how that can bring on so much depression and anxiety. So for me, my big push was I've got massive goals. I want to do a TED talk. I want to get to Jacinda Ardern and say our health system could be improved with women's health physios. Like, I want to get into Plunkett. Like, my goals are so massive, way beyond that dork who's got a brain injury and is dyslexic, like way beyond that. So because I'm so passionate, I just go, get over yourself, keep faking it, just keep turning up every day. I think if being nice is a big thing, just like really simple, but keep being nice, keep being real and caring about the people that you're serving in whatever area it is, and not feeling like you have to do everything you can just for that one sale. That minimalism stuff is just it's not helpful for you, and it's really obvious to people looking at whether they buy off you or not. Yeah. I've learned to give a lot and not worry about having to get paid for everything. But yeah, the thing that got me through was my passion for what I do. So I looked at that question that you had, and I'm like, mentoring, coaching, friends in similar spaces as you that you can talk to and feed stuff off. I actually have a friend I meet up with every week. We run to a cafe, have breakfast, dump, whether it's private, whether it's business. She's doing a business herself. And then we run home, and we've just like blah, and then supported each other. And like, so community is really big. I think if you are in this crunch and you're finding it really hard, that's when you go, do I want to push through? Because often breakthrough's just around the corner. and it's often missed because we give up. But if it's not worth pushing through, then maybe it's not a fight for you. Because being in the arena and business it can be really messy and hard. But if it's your thing, if it's your jam, then you can just keep turning the clogs and keep going with support.
Completely. I really believe in that. I really believe in looking at why you're doing it, because our businesses aren't about us. They are about everyone else. And we can get stuck in our feelings and our challenges. But when we can look beyond that and go, well, why did I start this in the first place? And am I still passionate about making a difference in the industry or the market that I put myself out there in? And if it's like, no, I'm not passionate about it anymore, but I'm passionate about something else, then cool, like go and follow that.
Yeah.
But if you can always go back to the reason why you've done it and you go, no, I have to keep pushing through. I just believe that there is no way that you can't not get through it. And I also really believe in community, from someone who tried to do it all alone to actually going, oh, imagine if I actually just told people that I'm having a tough time at the moment, or I didn't make $1 million this year like I had on my budget to be able to do, or I've had a slower month than normal. Like if you're just actually a normal human being and communicate, you realize that you're actually not a failure, and people will support you and encourage you on and be like, well, you know, what do you need to do? Or how can we help you? Or let's go over wine, or let's go for a run, or whatever it may be. And, you know, and that support is invaluable, because that, I guess, re-energizes you to go, right, I'll get back in the ring. I put the gloves on. Here we go again.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So I guess a couple of last questions for you. One would be, what does championing change kind of mean to you? I know you spoke about it a little bit earlier, but, you know, what is championing change and being able to inspire women to lead through, you know, business or just life in general? Does anything kind of come to mind for you on what that represents?
Yeah, I'm quite, what is it called I like systems and I like to know what's coming, but I'm also very good with spontaneity. And like I do a survey once a year for my clients to see if what I'm delivering to them is working for them, because I'm happy to change from an hour class to 45 minutes, or they want harder classes or they want easier. Like I'm very flexible like that. So you definitely, I think that asking your tribe what they want is a biggie, and being able to work that around you and seeing if that does work for you. Because if they're asking, you know, for more time and you don't want to give that because of your family, or if they're asking for you to go down an area that's not for you, then don't know it, know where your jam is and don't veer out of it. Like I think the narrower we can get our niche, smash out what we're awesome at, and let everybody else in our industry that might pick up that stuff, let them do that, because people want experts in their field. But the biggest thing, because I was thinking about this question, and it is what I was talking about before: be brave, be persistent, keep showing up. Imagine if you can't be bothered, just think, well, Kirstyn's talking about pelvic floor and vaginas all the time. Nobody comments on my posts. Nobody shares them. Very rarely they're even liked, because nobody wants to be linked with the fact that they might be leaking, they might have painful sex. So any of this change that I'm trying to create in my industry has to be done organically through me or paid. So it is showing up, and it's being consistent, and it's trusting that just because people aren't commenting or liking or sharing doesn't mean they're not seeing it. Because then I get people going, oh, I've been following you for ages, blah, 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 and I'm thinking, I've never seen any. But it's because it's a really hard area that I'm in, which is probably why people don't really, trainers don't put their hand up but I wrote, I want to make sure I get these words. I'll use the same language. I found is really good. So get your language, get your wordings, get your phrases, and keep repeating that same stuff. And then your change and then what you're trying to push will resonate stronger. Have your voice be heard. Don't let other people shush you down, because we can think bigger wigs are better than us. And stay true to who you are, and not change who you are to try and get further. So for me, that is I'm not going to say, come to me, I'll give you a flat stomach and make you, you know, like that. I'm not going to do that. But I do want to help you feel sexy. And I have a funny thing that if you become a Casey Fit mum, you will feel fitter and stronger, then you feel sexy, you have sex again, and you make more babies. So that's how we kind of...
And then you'll come back to me because you'll need more of my pelvic exercises.
The husbands keep paying because they get the sex because they're having sex again.
But no, I think that that's really important as well, is that, you know, especially for people in service-based or even product-based that have started it with a bigger purpose and they're linking their business into a charity or something like that, is to really not shy away from having your voice and talking about the reasons what are important to you, even if no one responds.
Yeah.
Yes, it can feel awkward. Yes, I used to write things. I very much talk about my journey with anxiety and depression and some, you know, abuse and stuff like that. And those posts never get anything. However, the amount of messages that I get from people asking questions, you know, how did you get through this? Blah, blah, blah. That means more to me than anyone hitting like or commenting on an actual post itself, is that I know behind the scenes, it absolutely resonates with people. I used to write them and I would hit enter. I would shit myself. I would hit enter and I would have to turn my phone off, shut my computer, run away for 10 minutes because I was so nervous about what was going to come back to me, because it was all about me. And it was like, actually, no one cares about this. This is simply just a story, and you're wanting to be able to share this and have a voice on a very big platform to help. You know, I very much work with women who go through, you know, similar situations. So so I really love that, championing change through authenticity and having a voice and being you, because there is no point showing up trying to be someone else, because no one's going to resonate with that. So
no, and I think that the society that we live in, and I think it's just going to get worse, that the more social media is portraying perfection, which is not achievable, you can't attain for it, the more rawness and realness is actually more attractive. It gives our followers permission to be real and raw and not to have to put up a fake front. And that is so refreshing. Like, you know, you want me to be real and raw. You want, you know, I mentioned earlier, I just had some corn, and I might have corn in my teeth and a bit of lamb chop. So sorry if there is any in there, but it's like, you know, it's all the children of your mums as well. The more we're real, the more our children see us being real, and it's affecting the generations after us. And when you were saying it, I was thinking, I think I actually do believe business cannot just be about a product and making money for you to be successful. We have to have a bigger heart for it, and whatever that is for us, not taking on someone else's because it's popular or cool or you feel like you need it or you haven't got it. But mental health is a big thing for me as well, and women struggle so much with it. There's so much pressure, and I do think, and that's why I share my concussion story on my page often, is and how much Chad helps me, and I have a house cleaner. Like, people will be thinking, oh, Kirstyn runs this business, she must be running the children around, doing the housework, cooking all the meals. Oh no, I'm like sleeping all the time. I've stopped putting photos of me sleeping, but I'm asleep every day. I have a nap every day. My house is often not right. We're not eating. This year we've not eaten as healthy as I would ever have liked to, but I don't have the energy to do what I would normally do, and Chad's doing the best that he can. So, and that's good enough. Like, yeah, I think push what your underlying thing is and be real, because people connect with real, and if they know you, like you, and trust you, they're going to buy off you. And if you're just a product and you're a robot, you know, like, yeah, they can like, know and trust a person more than they can just a robot or a thing behind a screen, or
Yeah, absolutely. Something I talk about a lot, actually. It's quite funny that you've just said that, because people buy from people that they like. And I was thinking about this earlier as well, around businesses that have started for money focus versus service. And I completely agree with you. And I think moving forward, the more that businesses are starting from a place of heart and serving, there is no way that you cannot serve and not have something come back to you. Like, you know, whether you believe in the law of attraction, whether you believe in God. I know, you know, you and I have kind of spoken about getting out of the way of what God has in store, because he'll bring it back and he'll lead you. And, you know, so I just really believe if, you know, you are coming from a place of service, whether it's with your product or your service-based business, it has to come back. Like, it just has to. But if you're starting a business from a place of like, I don't work with drop shipping, because I think drop shipping is generally, I just want to make money very quickly with Alibaba or whatever. It's like, it will be great for flipping things or making a quick cash, but I don't see it being a long-term thing unless it is linked into an actual purpose. So and I think there's a lot of shift globally watching that, which is it's kind of cool to watch. So anyway, I'll stop going on. So for anyone who has watched this and I guess, you know, either resonates with you as a person, what you do, maybe even has thought a little bit about, you know, they've got their own journey. You know, you've mentioned your brain injury, maybe they've been through something as well, and you know, and they're just wanting to ask you some questions, or maybe they've had kids, they need some help with their pelvic floor. You've mentioned that you can do face-to-face, online. How do people go about, I guess, connecting with you if they would like to reach out and have a chat?
Cool. So I'm Kirstyn Campbell. You can PM me. Lou can put up how to spell my name, because thank you, mummy, it's not normal. And I have caseyfitathome.com as the online website. We have two. So Casey Fit at Home spelled out like that. .com has heaps of free resources, so you can have a look. Pelvic floor, tummy splits, how to exercise safely for a mum, from I've never done it before through to I do it, because exercise is what hurt me 7 years after I'd given birth to Michaela. And I went hard. I love to push myself. And so I teach mums how to train safely, as well as help them repair if they're injured. Then you can also on Facebook, I'm Casey Fit, or Instagram, Casey Fit NZ. But yeah, do get in touch. I have gleaned off many people, and I think small conversations can help a big amount. So yeah, I am sincere in Lou saying you can get in touch. You can imagine in my industry, I get a lot of very private questions, and some yays. I'll finish on a nice funny one. A woman, one of my clients, let me know that it was at one time it was okay for her husband to call out another woman's name during sex. And it was, thank you, Kirstyn, because the better shape your pelvic floor and the better your sex is. And so there you go.
Love it. I love that. I really love what you do. Although I don't have kids, a lot of my friends have got kids, and they tell me information about, you know, their pelvic floors and everything else. And I obviously, I don't really get it. I interact with the conversation, but I have never really known anywhere for them to, you know, to point them to go, have you spoken to this person, or have you looked at this? So, you know, I'm so incredibly grateful that you have very much, you know, been very authentic and shared, you know, not only about your business, but your life, and for joining me, for dedicating the time to this, to be able to, you know, reach other women out there, either who are experiencing life challenges or business challenges, to be able to, I guess, encourage them on through. So thank you so very much. And, yeah, I guess for you, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you later.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.